David Wally's, you know, and I went down there and every day I jogged for about 2 miles. I started out the first day, I was there 5 days. I started out a mile, at a pace. I ended up at 2.5 miles in 5 days. And I went to the spas, and they tell you, when you come here, you eat non-GMO beef.
Really?
And you should see the taste of it.
Yeah.
And the color.
Yeah.
The color's not bright red.
No.
And
Yeah.
people really don't know this. I'm telling people, if you want to go someplace and you want to eat healthy and get out there and do things, there are places, am I right?
Oh my gosh, there are. And it's amazing that you have found that in Carson City, Nevada. I had no idea. That's exciting. There's definitely, stores that are carrying healthy products now. It's like kind of a movement. There's a little bit of like a vegan thing happening. And especially in some major cities, people want better quality ingredients. So they're starting
People
to see.
want to live.
People do want to live. How many people have to get sick before we choose to live our lives differently? And so now you're starting to see a lot of great restaurants, shops, healthy food stores popping up. And just information is out there all over the internet about, how to eat better as well.
There are some really nice places in the city here that you can go, and they tell you it's non-GMO beef, it's no antibiotics, it's not modified in any manner.
Yeah.
And the food is fresh, and it makes you feel better as a human being when you can sit there and eat something, and they know that somebody cares for you to start off with, and know that you're going to live longer in the end.
Right.
Am I right?
Right. Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's clearly my favorite thing. Like you're preaching to the choir. Like that's the only place I'll go if I can help it. You know, it's not like sometimes you're in a pinch or what have you, and that's fine. But I live for that, and it's interesting that they will advertise now. Like even Carl's Jr. has this thing that says antibiotic free. Great. Well, that's fine. But are people realizing that? There are actually, if it's not advertised as antibiotic free, like it's a different thing to have an antibiotic free hamburger. So that means otherwise, what are you getting? Right? You're getting animals that are really sick. They're so sick because of their conditions that they have to be treated with meds.
Right.
And those meds are going into your bloodstream. So anyway, that's just my little PSA. It's like, oh, look, that's antibiotic free. That's interesting. Right, because the food you're eating normally has antibiotics in it. Like, that's a problem.
Well, Carl's Jr., the original Carl Karcher, who started Carl's Jr., I think that's his name, his grandchildren and great-grandchildren have stepped into that corporation with 2 feet. And they have made all these really beautiful changes. They're not the best of the best, but they have made more changes than anybody. I was the chief engineer on rotation here some years ago. I used to farm myself out to different people. And I was in a certain company's packing house out in South City. And cyclamates is a big thing in food now. Sodium nitrites and nitrates to make it taste good. But they eat your liver and your kidney up. And your spleen, they affect your spleen, because that's where these chemicals park at. And I was not aware of what goes in hamburgers. They would bring these huge vats of this white powder and all this other brown stuff. That they mix it all together, and when the meat is going around in the churner thing, here comes all this stuff. And some of these, but they mix everything up with the flax and the bran and all this stuff. This thing comes out and dumps this white powder in there. Nitrites and nitrites, and that's what makes it taste good.
Ew. That's
and here you are talking about mind, body, and nutrition.
Yeah, and when, we were talking about the show ahead of time and sort of how to live a healthy life and hopefully a very long life, the first thing that came to mind for me was reducing our toxicity, like reducing our toxic load.
Right.
And that's exactly what you just described. And so everybody's at a different place in their health journey, right? But I would say that actually what I try to live by and share with others is that like the closer we can get to nature, the closer we can get to the natural state of what we're consuming, the better we'll be. And that white powder is not part of that. You know what I mean?
That powder is not part of it, but you know, sodium nitrites and nitrates are in everything we eat. If you look at it, and you know, FDA this approved food colors, different colors have different chemicals in them. They're not natural colors. Am I right?
They're not. And in fact, like artificial coloring is linked to like hyperactivity disorders in children.
Really?
Yeah, like there's so many things that are affecting the way people are growing and developing from a very young age. It really starts at birth, and we can't trust the FDA, in my opinion, 100% to keep us healthy and safe, because look at the state of our country.
Well, woo, that's a big one, girlfriend.
And I'll say it.
That's
I'll
a big
stand
one.
by it.
You know, one of the things that I saw was one particular chicken entity is shipping their chickens to China, having them processed, and then shipping them back here.
I saw that too. I
Didn't
saw
scare
that
the-
too.
I almost said scare the drawers off it, but I won't say that with you. Scare the socks off of you.
It's terrifying, and
Yeah.
that's why I won't eat chicken. And I know that that's an extreme stance,
Yeah,
but that's why.
yeah.
You know, if I go out and people have questions about why I eat what I eat, which happens less and less, which I like.
Yeah.
You know, in my younger days, it was definitely a jarring reaction I got from people that I didn't eat meat. But that's why. You know, and I'm not saying everyone has to cut it out, but
I like chicken, but I eat
Yeah.
rocky chicken. I eat all the stuff that's not in a chicken, the antibiotics, the sodium
Right.
nitrates, and all that stuff.
yeah,
And they actually treat chicken to look better longer now.
yep.
Yeah, they spray it with all these chemicals and all this stuff.
Oh my gosh.
You know.
Yeah.
So you know, let me tell you something. Out in El Sobrante, not El Cerrito. There is a Spanish market on San Pablo Dam Road in El Sobrante, and they have hormone-free chickens, beef, Rocky and Roselle, or whatever the other name is, Rosie and Rocky. Those are the two chickens that are all naturally, you know, and there's no genetic alterations
Yes.
to them. You know,
That's amazing.
this place is really good, and they have Harris Ranch, which Harris Ranch is famous with beef. I don't eat beef. But you know, I do look at everything I eat, you know, and
Yeah.
when I see mind and body and nutrition, it talks about your metabolism. Am I right?
Oh yeah, of
It
course.
affects your brain. Am I right?
100%. Everything that we put in our bodies is helping to build our cells. Like, it's the "we are what we eat" statement, you know. So yeah, that includes your brain. It does. It includes your blood. It includes your muscle, your skin, everything.
Wow. Tell people that I'm almost 75. They look at me like, wow, what are you doing?
I can't believe you just said that.
Yeah.
But I know you, so I believe it, because I know
Yeah.
how healthy you are and how committed you are.
You know, I was in Japan 1965, 64, 65, and I lived in a place called Hayama. And they grew vegetables. All the Japanese people grow vegetables in their backyards on little platforms hooked to houses and little, you know, like little flower pots and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I met a guy, he was 103 years old. And I'm
Wow.
going to tell you what I was doing. I was jogging one day, and I looked up, and I'm halfway around the course, and I got tired. And this old man had this little tiny little shuffle. I thought he was around like 60, 70 years old. He was 103.
Unreal. So how did that affect you? What did that make you think about?
Living with the Japanese people and living in real good people and real dominant earth people, you see what they eat. A lot of yellow squash, yellow and green squash. Not that many beans, but they eat veggies most of anything. You know, and they didn't get much beef. So what I would do is I would go to the commissary down in Yokosuka, and I would buy like 20, 30 pounds of beef, cut it up into little cubes about as big as a loaf of bread, you know, a slice of bread.
Right.
And I would give each person in the neighborhood, you know, a little tiny roast, you know. And one guy says, I like pork. I have not had pork in years. So I went and got a pork roast and pork chops and everything. And then we started barbecuing, me and the two guys that lived in the house. We started barbecuing, and the whole neighborhood would come.
Wow.
You know, and we did that for the whole year I was there. I was there like 10 months, off and on.
That's amazing.
But you know, and I kept noticing the muscle mass on the people. They were very lean, they were very healthy, they had good color, and they don't wrinkle. Then I came back here and I looked at all the stuff that was happening, and then all to today I looked at this thing called dynamic eating psychology that you have. Psychologically, everything you engulf in life affects you, including your eating.
Yeah, it's a two-way street. So, you know, I thought long and hard kind of about longevity and living your best life, and the theme, I guess, that came out to me was like just committing to yourself, like making that commitment to make good choices and make positive choices, and understanding that you need to like do some research and learn about it. And sometimes it might be different, sometimes it might be uncomfortable, but if you're really committed to living your best life, then you will. And that's a big psychological component, and the work I do when people want to make a change, but they're not. You know, but really the first step is wanting to make that change.
Well, people can't see that change is very important. I was in Pakistan the other day looking at, that's in the black community. You know, when you go to these markets, these cheap markets, that's because that's all passed down food, you know. It's getting near its expiration date, a lot of it, you know, it's getting close. And the lady had like 2.5 gallons of sodas. Tell people what sodas do to your body.
Oh, well, my favorite example of what sodas do is a video I've seen of someone using a bottle of soda to clean the rust off the car bumper. And it worked like a charm.
Yeah.
And essentially it's acidic. You're throwing off the pH balance, you're loading up your body with so much sugar, you're just going to pack on pounds. Or you have artificial sweeteners that have been proven to be linked to like major neurological disorders.
Wait a minute, whoa. Say that again.
Artificial sweeteners are chemicals that will negatively affect your brain function, cognitive functioning.
Get out of here.
Yeah, aspartame. You know, it's still in gum. It's still in diet soda. It's still out there, and people have seen that it's directly linked to. I don't want to like name any. I don't have the studies with me, but you know, I would say maybe something similar to Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, seizures, and it's addicting. And you know, these companies are actually creating these products to be addicting. Like, I honestly don't think it's our fault. Like, we are set up for failure, but that's changing. The climate, I think the environment that we're in when it comes to healthy food and eating and learning about that is changing. But those products, I read a book, an amazing book called Sugar, Salt, Fat, and it talked about the chemists that the big billion-dollar food companies are hiring to create foods that will alter the chemicals in your brain. Just light you up.
Whoa. Say that again.
So large food companies are hiring chemists. And it's great. In the book they talk about one of the chemists who was hired, and his father said to him, what would a food company want with a chemist? Well, they're in there creating concoctions to light up your brain so that you cannot stop eating their food. It's called a bliss point.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bliss point.
Bliss point in your brain, which is like it's like when you take a drug and you get this like sugary, salty fix that hits a certain level in your brain that you can't stop eating. And that's what they strive for. And that is literally why I'm here today, because I take offense to that. I think we are here to make each other better, not make each other addicted to things that we're selling.
But addiction's a big part of the market, isn't it?
Sure. And it's a struggle. It's a real struggle. And it's a real thing. It can be, it's a disease, you know. So that's what we're up against.
But sugar's also processed.
Yes. Of course.
Wow.
And it's just, you know, I'm not saying that people have to cut out sugar. Like sometimes that can feel a little overwhelming. Some people love to go cold turkey off things, and that works for them. But sometimes you have to take baby steps. And there are ways, I mean, we can desensitize ourselves. We can lower our tolerance to these things if we stop having them every day. And slowly but surely, we start wanting them less. It's like the most beautiful thing in the world.
Well, you know, my neighbor down the street from me, excuse me, she had a massive heart attack. She weighed 256 pounds. She was 5'9", you know, and all she did was wear these moo dresses. And she retired, and she sits and eats all the time.
Yeah.
So she had a heart attack, and 2 years ago. And whoever got to her was holistic. She lost 130 pounds.
Right.
You would never know today that she had a heart attack.
She turned it
And
around.
a mild stroke to go with it.
Wow.
Yeah,
She got a second chance.
she got a second chance.
You're listening to Thoughts of a Common Man with Charles Achieve Williams on Radio Valencia, the sounds of the mission.
Vanessa, I want you to tell people where you got all this beautiful knowledge from, and how to get a hold of you, and how to contact you, and how to talk to you, and possibly stay alive on a day-to-day basis.
Well, I would say that, and thank you for having me, for one, and thank you for asking me that. I do strive to help people live their best life, you know, and healthiest life, because I don't think we can do that without being in our best health. And I lost my father too early, and some of these things are out of our control, so I can't make any promises, but I can promise to help.
Before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, I studied human development at the University of California, San Diego, which was fascinating, and I wanted to start my career in nutrition then, but it wasn't quite a field yet. I mean, it was, but not like it is now. And I then went on to become certified in eating psychology from the Institute for Psychology of Eating. And along the way, though, I mean, I really dedicated myself to learning. If you ask any of my friends, I mean, this is how I spend my time. This is what I love to read. I'm just constantly watching documentaries and constantly reading books and constantly trying to get as informed as I possibly can. And then I went on to begin and complete my certification in fitness nutrition. And now I'll be starting a course, an intensive course next month at the California School for Herbal Studies. So it's an ongoing learning, educational journey for me. And I started up my private practice for coaching, which is called So Fit and So Clean, which is based on an Outkast song. I don't know if you guys play Outkast songs, but so fresh and so clean. Yeah, exactly. And it's just about a fit lifestyle. That doesn't mean that you have to be maxing out at the gym. It means that you have some muscle tone. It means that you feel comfortable in your clothes. And a clean lifestyle, which is really what you and I have been discussing around reducing toxicity. We're not eating food that has been tainted with drugs and hormones and things like that. Taking products out of your home that bring toxicity as well. So getting back to that clean, natural, feeling good, feeling energetic way of life.
You know, one of the things I was looking at was talking about your metabolism.
Yes.
Eating affects your metabolism. That means eating affects your psychology, physiologically as well as psychologically. It affects you all the way around. You know, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. You know, it's hard. It's going to be difficult for your body to burn calories and metabolize your food properly if it is bogged down with inflammation. and from toxic ingredients, from food sensitivities that we might not even realize we have. I mean, for so long, I thought that being uncomfortable after you ate was normal. Like, that was just my way of life. And I was an athlete, so I ate a lot, and I was always fueling myself with all the food around me to go perform, and it would slow me down a little bit, and that is not a healthy metabolism, but I didn't know that at the time. So when you start eating the right amounts, when you start paying attention to how your body is responding to the food you're eating in terms of how do I feel afterwards? Do I feel light? Do I feel energetic? Do I feel like I need a nap? Do I feel like my pants don't fit? You know, these things are symptoms which have messages that are saying your body doesn't like, you know, fill in the blank. Dairy. Your body doesn't like gluten or grains or cheese, or some cheeses are okay. Like, and there's a lot of trial and error here, but once you get it right, you're not going to be fighting to lose weight. You're going to be feeling good.
It's going to be coming off automatically.
It's going to come off.
I like Havarti cheese.
I do too.
Uh-oh. and I like the Mexican goat cheese.
Oh, I love goat cheese.
Yeah, you know, I use that more than it, you know, and Sargento has got some stuff that's pretty good and not a lot of chemicals in it, you know.
Right. Well, for me, I did the Whole30,
Uh-huh.
which was a great thing. Like, I hope people go to the Whole30 and do that. It's something I can help people with as well. It's just eliminating processed foods and dairy from your diet. And so I don't really need to eat cheese. I don't feel like cheese can be addictive to some people, I found as well. But
Yeah.
I don't really need to eat it. I like goat's cheese. I probably won't have a cow's cheese. But I decided just to go to the dairy farm that I was buying cheese from at the farmer's market and see what's happening here, because it matters to me. You know,
Sure.
I'm also a fan of like animal rights. So just getting informed about these processes is really helpful, and you know, a lot of people don't want to know. But
Well,
if you want to,
if you want to live, you want to know,
live,
right?
then you want to know.
You
And
know.
I'm just waiting for the rest of people in the world to make that connection. You know, in the United States, like looking the other way about how your steak is being made in a factory farm, but you know, you want to go to Walmart and pick up a steak. Like, it's not. It's you're blinding yourself to all the information of what you're supporting and what you're ingesting.
Self-responsibility. That's the biggest thing you're selling.
It is, and that
Really?
is, but it's not that simple sometimes, and that's why I said, you know, keeping your commitment to yourself. Do you keep your word to yourself? Maybe you're great at keeping your word to others. Maybe you're not. Maybe you have some work to do on keeping your word to yourself. But that's ultimately what it comes down to, because no one can do this for you. But getting support, getting help, getting informed, getting a coach, getting, you know, reading, watching documentaries. These are all generally easy first steps you can take. I'm not saying you have to change overnight.
I saw a lady the other day. I was in the market, and I saw a lady. She was fighting. She was fighting hard. And you know the cheesecakes where they chop them up and they have multiple different varieties of cheesecake in one package?
Yes.
She went back 3 times. And you know, and I was standing there. I was looking at the cartons of egg whites, because in the morning I eat egg whites and spinach, you know,
Right.
turkey bacon and a little bit of goat cheese in it.
Mm.
You know, and lots of garlic and lots of red pepper, you know.
So how have you, I mean, you are such a testament, you are living proof that this is a life-saving lifestyle. Like, how did you turn that around?
Watching other people.
Did you?
And you know, I came from the nuclear power industry.
Right.
I have worked in that industry for over 50 years. And I came down with leukemia several years ago.
I
And
remember.
one of the things you normally realize that people in that job they don't live long. Make a lot of money. You know, nuclear power techs and engineers make a lot of money. And I was the guy that if you couldn't buy it, I would make it. I made my own pumps. I made my own valves.
Wow.
You know, I started doing patents. I had several inventions. But anyway,
That's amazing.
I got off the plane coming from Saudi Arabia, and I couldn't walk. I felt really bad, and I was in the airport in LAX. And I was sitting there, and everybody started looking fuzzy to me.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm sitting there going, okay, I know that something is wrong. So I went at my uncle's house, and I got my car, my truck, and I got on the road, and I drove up here to the Bay Area, LA. And it took me 9.5 hours because I was sick as a dog.
Oh no.
So I went straight to Alta Base Hospital, and I said, something is wrong, I don't know what it is. And then they did all the tests and said, your immune system is shot. You know, and I'm going, okay, the whites were eating up the red cells. You know, and I'm going, okay, what's going on? They said, well, you have CLL. I said, chronic lymphomic, you know. And I'm going, okay, am I going to die? He said, luckily, you're not going to die, but you have to alter your life. Well, I enjoy Jack Daniels all the time. All the time.
Do.
I love Jack Daniels all the time. Day and night. You know, I used to carry a little tiny flask with me wherever I went. You know, if I was in a foreign country, I had my Jack Daniels. You know, and I was always a good eater. But I learned something that when you lose part of your natural balance chemically, then you have to change your diet. It's imperative for you to feed what's left.
And
So,
it worked, right?
It works. I am susceptible to infections now. And I live with that, and it is a challenge
Yeah.
because everything has to be clean. I double wash my dishes, and I use a teaspoon of bleach in the water when I wash my dishes, then I double rinse them. Okay? Because I don't need any bacteria. I walk around with these little wipes all over my bathroom. You know, somebody comes, I go wipe the whole bathroom down. You know, things like that.
Okay.
Or if I have a visitor, then I give them a little spray bottle, you know, disinfectant to spray things, you know,
Yeah.
the shower curtains and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like I said, but I live a pretty close life, and you know, running into people like you. There is a lady that I met, her name is Mila. She is a nutritionist in San Diego, you know, and I've known her for about 50 years. And if you see an 80-year-old that looks like she's 40-year-old, that's Mila. You know,
Yeah.
super good. I mean, she said, you need to change. She and I got together for a weekend, you know, and we're just friends, and us to sleep together. But I spent the weekend at a little cottage she has in East San Diego.
Yeah.
You know, and we talked the whole weekend, and I went down there because that's what I said, I'm sick.
Yeah.
You know, and what we came up with was a lot of stuff. You know, don't eat this. The egg whites, okay, the, you know, non-GMO, you know, it's organic. Egg whites, you know, spinach, kale, stuff. You saute that in the morning. Believe it or not, it eats up your hunger.
Yeah.
You're not going to want to eat for until 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Isn't that great?
And it's about 5 eggs, the equivalency of 5 eggs, and a handful of walnuts in the morning.
Yeah.
And, you know, and that keeps me going. And I've learned. And then when I started reading about you, the first time you came, and I read the whole thing about you, you know, I said, oh, damn. I said, this was a smart, you know. And I look at the fact that, you know, the psychology of eating is very important. Am I right?
I think so. I mean, we were talking, you know, during the break about obesity. We were talking about heart disease, diabetes, like our lives, you know, are at stake. And that's why losing my dad really helped me to pick up the pace and get to work on this, because it is literally our lives that we're working on here. And how important is that? We have
Yeah.
to ask ourselves that. And in eating psychology, there is a question that they tell, that we were trained to ask people, which is, are you agreeing to be here? Do you really want to be here? You know? And that, if you're chronically smoking cigarettes, you know, do you really want to be here? And it gets into like some deep conversation.
Yeah, it does.
You know, and maybe that's something that they hadn't thought about. But it's different for everyone. But, you know, change is possible.
You know, when you eat right, I'm going to throw something in here, not being that way, but it's something that everybody is going through now. There is a lot of synthetic hormones on the market today.
Yeah.
There is a lot of, what do you call this stuff that makes you buff up and all this stuff, all this chemical. You know, the bodybuilders use all this stuff. You know, one of the things that I learned is that if it's synthetic, it's not good.
Right. Hence, you know, going back to what's naturally produced on this
Right.
earth for us to live on. That's not it. And everything that we're putting in our bodies has to go through our liver.
Right.
Like, do you want to maintain your liver health? Like, these are questions that we can start to challenge ourselves by asking.
Oh, yeah.
And how important is it to look a certain way, or versus loving your body and feeling good when you wake up in the morning and having more mornings. You know, I mean, these are literally the things that we have to ask ourselves.
It's about making a quality life, am I right?
It's all about quality of life.
Quality of life.
The quality of life factor is
Yeah.
what I kind of base all of my decisions I do every day. And sometimes, don't get me wrong, sometimes I have something sweet.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have some goat cheese.
Yeah.
I like goat cheese
Yeah.
because it is a quality of life thing for me.
Right, right.
And I believe in the 80-20 rule. But that's for me. And every single person I talk to has a very different goal, has a very different circumstance. And so there's no one-size-fits-all program, which is what kind of kills me about diet programs.
Mhm.
But trying different things is the way to go, because you are only going to be able to get closer to what ultimately will work for you as an individual.
Well, you know what? A lot of diets, and my sister was on diet after diet after diet. Then she got on something new that was supposed to do all these wonderful things. And because my family's mixed, very mixed. My mother's Mexican and Latin. You know, my father's Native American and mulatto. So we have a very unique
Yeah.
chemical balance, I guess you can say.
Okay.
And when she was going through menopause, they put her on all these chemicals, you know. She started having many strokes. She had about 5 or 6 of them, and she was almost semi-comatose for about 4 years. And then one day out of nowhere, she just passed away. When they did the autopsy, they found all this residue. Stuff, chemicals, you know, and you're sitting there going,
Oh my gosh.
somebody should have found this. You
Right.
know?
Right.
The home where she was in was buying processed food,
Yeah.
and that didn't go very well. And in many of these homes, people buy hamburgers. They buy hamburgers. They buy this bulk stuff that's junk, and they feed it to these people. You know,
It's true.
and the dynamics of eating and food is something that we don't understand. The
You're listening
ramifications
to
of.
Thoughts of a Common Man with Charles the Chief Williams on Radio Valencia, the sounds of the mission.
Vanessa Rogers, one of my favorite people.
Woo!
We're talking about eating and good stuff. Let's say something serious that's a little bit out of class, but I'm gonna say it anyway.
Let's hear it.
When you binge and when you ingest yourself with sodas and sugar and all these artificial things, and one of them is classically what you do is you're actually destroying yourself over a long period of time. One of the good things about life is we have people like Vanessa, who is in business, and put your numbers out there one more time.
Oh, sure. Well, my website is sofitandSoClean.com. You can also go to VanessaCRogers.com. And there's a whole section on there for contacting me at SoFit So Clean. You can find it on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, SoFit So Clean. And honestly, you can send me anything. You can send me questions. You can send me, oh, I'm having this problem. Like, I'm happy to help. You may or may not want to partner with me long term. I'm going to be doing some traveling, so a lot of my clients I work with via Skype anyway. But send me your questions. I'm happy to help. I live for this, so I'm around.
One of the things from men and women that I have heard so much of today, I mean, so much, is that fatigue. Fatigue.
Oh my gosh.
And the thing that's hooked to fatigue and depression because sexually they're inadequate on both sides. And now I was reading something the other day and they was talking about, again, it goes back to nutrition. Mm-hmm. And you talk about in your presentation, you talk about the awareness of breathing, relaxing. All of these things enhance life. And if you can't get it on, you need to start looking at what you eat and how you live. One of the things that I found out that in military people, alcohol is a big thing. And depression, when people are depressed out here, they jump to that bottle. And I'm looking at the fact that if you would take the time to get away sometime and relax and kind of get your nutrition in order, am I right? Am I putting this stuff out there good?
Oh, I am just loving every minute of what you're saying.
Again, David Wally's in Carson City is where I go. And I run, jog, I don't eat anything except green, and and a little bit, they have some bad chocolate cake and some bad oatmeal cookies. They're huge. They're big like this.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. Oatmeal raisin with dates and nuts in them.
Sounds divine.
Yeah. But anyway, and I drink bottled water. I don't drink water from a stream. I drink the purified bottled water.
Yeah.
And you know what? Let me tell you something. 75, everything still works. The plumbing works, so to speak. And I'll just leave it at that.
And that's something I hadn't addressed on my website, and that is definitely a part of physical health that you
It's a
raised.
big psychological thing because when you can't do it, so to speak, it kind of puts a damper on life. That brings in more depression. And one of my friends, he was in the bar of his, and he's only 63, and he said, man, I sit here and drink, and I know what it's doing to me physically as a man. I said, then why don't you stop? I said, why don't you stop? And we get back to this stuff of digestion and calorie and fat burning and all this stuff. It's all hooked into physiological, how you are physiologically connected. And it goes back to the brain, and here we are, what you were saying earlier, it goes through your kidneys and through your liver.
Yeah.
Even the stress affects your kidney and liver, am I right?
Of course. Stress affects your whole system. And so if it came down to, there are people out there who live to be 110 and they're like, I had a beer every night. Like, that's amazing. Okay, that's not what works for everyone at all. But that person must have had an incredible way of staying stress-free. Because if anything will keep us healthy and living a long time, it's managing and maintaining a low stress response.
Wait a minute. We got to back up on that one, okay?
Yes.
We got to back up on that.
Okay.
I'm one of these people who I don't sleep for 4 hours a night. And I believe that business is life and life is business with me. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I will say to anybody out there is listen to Vanessa, because I'm looking at all the stuff here that you do. And like I said, when I first met you several years ago, I started practicing, and I have been following you.
Thank you.
I follow you almost monthly.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm looking at the things, and I'm seeing that mind and body and nutrition, it actually dictates your whole life. Am I right?
Yes, and those things are all connected. Like your friend who was drinking at the bar, which, there's alcoholism in my family. Like it's a disease, and it's closely related to depression, and it hits home for me. The mind-body part of that is, what is he trying to escape? You
Right.
know, what is he not addressing?
See, that word is a big word in our society because somebody's trying to escape something that happens in the day. Am I right?
Sure.
And this pre-case the eating and all the disorders that we have.
It does, and you know, but as human beings, we are designed to go away from pain. You know, like we have some biological predispositions that are there to help us, and at this stage in our society, they're not. Like sometimes we're taking it a little too far. Like we need sugar and salt so we continue to eat food and stay alive, but we don't need to take it too far, right?
Right.
So we are also sort of wired to go away from pain and down the path of least resistance. So we're not always walking straight into our challenges and saying,
What is that? Why do we do that as human beings? Do you have an idea about why we do that?
I think it's to keep ourselves safe. I think it's to avoid pain. And that's because it's discomfort, you know, and people talk about get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that never made sense to me until I actually forced myself to be uncomfortable and explore that. And don't turn to whatever it is you're going to turn to. But like our bodies respond to pleasure. And like, you know, sugar is pleasure. Like numbing sometimes can feel pleasurable if it's drinking. Like there's a lot of things that we go down that road to just help ourselves feel better because we don't want to feel the discomfort. And that's where courage comes in. That's where commitment comes in, and just being willing to explore. What if I just breathe? What if I just breathe?
People don't breathe. People, you know.
We're holding our breaths.
People, I was, where was I at? I was up in San Pablo the other day, and this lady was running, and she was like 71, 72 years old. And I told her, you know, I said, well, I look good, and I gave her one of my cards, you know.
You look so good.
Yeah. That's a lot of work.
I mean, oh my gosh.
Seriously.
I just had to say that. That is unreal.
It's a lot of work. It is not easy,
Yes, it's not.
you know, because I used to like prime rib.
Mm,
That's one of the worst things you could eat.
agreed.
Fat. It's
Yeah.
high in fat, high in cholesterol.
Yeah.
You
Animal
know,
fat.
You know, and I started out on high blood pressure medication, high blood pressure.
Mm.
What was it? 140 over 90 something. You know, and now they're saying that when you get in that range, that's normal. That's getting close to being normal now. That's killing people.
It is. Heart disease.
Heart disease.
Number one killer.
And I used to, whenever I went on site for anywhere, I would work for 16, 17 hours a day. If I went to another country, I would work 16, 17 hours because it was all about the money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I would go back to American Express and see these huge checks. Then I would go home and sleep for 2 or 3 weeks at a time. That impacted my family life.
Wow.
You know,
Wow.
at least a week. You got to sleep and eat. And then you eat the wrong things when you sleep.
When you don't sleep.
When you don't sleep, you eat the wrong things also.
It's true, because your body is just needs something. It's just begging for just energy, you know.
Yeah.
Sleep is the number one foundation.
You know who the biggest, people that, not doing what they're supposed to do is truck drivers.
Oh yeah.
They're horrible.
There's a documentary, Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, about a truck driver who changes his entire life.
Really.
That has got to be the toughest job.
It's hard.
I could not stay in that seat for that long.
Well, you know what? Let me tell you something. When I was 16, I hitchhiked this whole country, and I tell everybody that.
I don't think I knew that.
I hitchhiked this country from coast to coast and border to border, and I went down into Mexico where my mother was born, Sinaloa.
Wow.
And I learned so much. And you know what? Eating is something to survive. Where all the markets were, Kroger's, Piggly Wiggly, Winn-Dixie, when they would throw their food away at 10 o'clock at night, I knew where each one of all the states were.
Oh.
I ate very well.
Oh wow.
I ate very, very well. I had no problem with going hungry while I was on the road.
Uh-huh.
Then I started telling people, well, let's go here, well, let's go there. And I ran into a guy in what was that at? It was in Connecticut. He had a farm that they grew everything that they ate, and I stayed there. And he had a tractor,
No
and I
kidding.
got the tractor going for him. He had a magneto on, and I just cleaned it up. The old 1941 John Deere, 42 John Deere, and the engine was the frame. You have to separate the engine, the back wheels from the frame. Well, I did that. We cleaned it up and painted it up. And one day he came out there, and he said, "What did you do? That thing ain't ran in 20 years."
Oh,
You know,
wow.
and I said, "Well, why?" I said, "Why do you look so good and everybody else looks so bad?" He said, "Because I eat certain things."
Ah.
And and that was the beginning of all this thing in life. I learned
Wow.
so much on the road that and I'm gonna say something to people out there. You need people to teach you what life is. You got to look at different variations of life.
Get outside of your comfort zone.
Get outside of your comfort
You
zone. You might live
hitchhiked.
longer.
That's outside of a comfort zone for sure. And look what you discovered.
Sure.
Look at the people you met. Look what you learned.
Yeah.
Because you were willing to go put yourself out there and explore.
Yeah.
You could probably write a very large book
But
about
the
that.
biggest thing was I learned to deal with stress. And every time you and I get back together, every time I've seen you and we talk, we end up talking about stress and the ravages that stress has on the body.
Yeah. And there's a lot of information out there about the stress response and how to reduce it.
Right.
But we cannot continue to live the same life. But just like drink tea, actually tea is amazing and part of a stress management practice, absolutely. But it really is like the major things we have in our lives, our relationships,
Mhm.
our jobs, the way that we do life, the way that we eat our meals, the way that we sleep. We can't continue to live that way and just think like, I'll just make a couple tweaks, It does start that way.
Right.
But I think, you have to look at what your life is and say, what's working here and what's not. What makes me feel heavy and what makes me feel light.
Well, one thing I'm looking at, we're talking about stress and body and mind nutrition and the physiological and psychological values that you get when you live. Is people who sit in front of televisions now
Yeah.
and keyboards all night long,
Yeah.
game people.
Oh, yeah.
They're some of the most unhealthiest people I've ever seen.
And they don't sleep either, right?
They don't
play
sleep.
at night.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I need my sleep. That was not going to work for me.
I look at some of the young ones getting on the bus right there in MacArthur BART, getting on the bus going to Silicon Valley,
Yeah.
They're horrible looking.
Ooh.
And they're still sitting there with their finger,
Yeah.
on some kind of object,
Yeah.
And they have these PlayStations and whatever they have
Yeah.
going on the bus to hook up on the bus, and
Really?
inadvertently I was looking at a guy the other day and he said, they told me I might live 10 or 15 years less than what I'm supposed to live if I'll cut this out.
Oh, no.
That's a big one.
Yeah. And that's where mindfulness comes in. Like, I just want to have a little plug for mindfulness, which is maybe a little bit of a buzzword, and I don't want to use buzzwords, but if you're being mindful, you're not on your phone. You're just looking around and you're taking in the people, their faces, the wind, the temperature, the material of the seat you're sitting on. And you're not, your mind is focused on being open and what's around you, as opposed to just constant input, constant working, constant focus on this, focus on that. And honestly, your life is just going to pass you by.
Sure.
Right?
Life is fascinating.
It is.
There was an old saying, is how did that go? Life is simple, we make it complex. You know what?
Yeah.
And eating and living in big cities, like walk down Mission. There are some
Mhm.
places that you can see that are halfway healthy, and there's some really garbage places down here. It tastes good.
Mm-hmm.
It tastes good.
Yeah,
But it's all about choice, am I right? You got to make
that's
that
what
choice.
it is. And are your choices reflecting what you want
Right.
long term? And also, part of the eating psychology thing is, if you eat the wrong thing, don't beat yourself up for it and
Right.
just go make more poor decisions.
Right.
Like, love yourself throughout this process. Forgive yourself if you go to the crappy place that you're trying to quit going to, and just tell yourself tomorrow's a new day and I'm going to try to do better tomorrow. And keep going, because it's not easy sometimes.
When I was traveling, I looked at people from India and the islands where dates grow.
Oh,
Dates are very healthy for you,
yeah.
extremely healthy for you.
Oh, yeah.
You know, good for your metabolism, good for your digestive system.
Right.
You know, and the Arabs eat dates all the time. And
Right.
You wonder why these guys look so good at,
Uh-huh.
because this is one of the things that keeps them going. And I would tell people, go get you some dates, go get you some fruit. And you don't have to eat a lot of fruit. You know, apples and oranges and stuff like that, is they haven't really screwed them up yet.
Right.
But the apples, you have to wash them real good because they shoot them with a wax.
Right.
And that wax is not good.
I know.
Yeah.
And the amazing thing, like, those things you just mentioned
Yeah.
are good enough to replace, like, sugar in your
Right.
diet.
Right.
They're sweet enough.
Right.
Like, we have sweet foods that have been brought to us naturally. And we don't need to go to the convenience store and get something in a wrapper.
Right.
They're all there for us, and with that sweetness comes a lot of fiber
You
and
know
a lot
what?
of vitamins.
You speaking of that, you know what cracked me up? Is I like mango chicken.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Chicken smothered in mangoes and onion, with a little bit of olive oil.
Mm.
Yeah.
You're quite the chef.
Ha
And that's I'm always love hearing about your recipes and what
Right.
you're making, because that is how, like, we reclaim our health,
Right.
is by learning how to make food for ourselves. Because we can't just rely on spending all our money for food that we go pick up. Like you were saying, like, sometimes it's hard to know how to navigate, like, food in your life as an American. It's not that way in Europe. Like, in Europe, they go to the market every day and they just pick fresh food for that day.
Well, I noticed one thing, the way we shop, when you walk into the market, there's high sugar items when you walk in. There's cakes and pies
Oh, I
and
know.
all this junk.
Right at eye
there.
level.
Eye level.
Right, so it just catches you when you walk in. I mean, I'm telling you, this is what we're up against. Like, the healthy ones, well, it depends what store you go to, but no, it's set up that you go for that stuff. And, like, there's an American Heart Association stamp and, like, logo on Cocoa Puffs. Like, it's just so confusing, but if we
That's
can...
junk.
I know. So if we can just go back to creating, like, cooking food for ourselves, and it's like, oh, I don't know how to cook, so I just order out. Like, simple recipes. They're all over Instagram. They're all out there.
Sure.
I can help with that. Just simple, plain food that comes from the earth. You're gonna be fine.
Well,
And
you know
get
what?
better over time.
You know what? Kashi is not a bad brand.
No.
Kashi is
Yeah.
it's all organic, no chemicals, no herbicides, no pesticides. And the things about it is it tastes pretty damn good.
It does.
It does. It tastes
does.
pretty good.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you something. Getting back to responsive breathing and awareness and really looking at life, and trying to pick yourself up, that makes you feel better. Am I right?
It does.
Once you find out that you have eaten good for a couple of months, and like one guy told me, he lost 7.5 pounds in 1 month just getting off of McDonald's and stuff like that.
Right, and that's when it becomes fun. That's when it's like, oh my gosh, all of the cravings that I had, that I fought, and all of the healthy food that I'm starting to like, I'm seeing results. I'm never going back. And that's why this movement of, like, plant-based foods, clean foods, is taking off.
I'm just
because
thinking
it feels
about
good.
me singing opera. What do you call them things? Vibrato, one of them things,
And Gina said, no.
Hell no.
You're not doing that.
I think, what is a vibrato anyway? Is that real?
Yeah.
The big thing is we're talking about keeping your butt alive. We're talking to somebody who practices what she preaches. And Vanessa Rogers, and you're going to Australia next.
Oh, no. I have been there. I'm actually going to Kenya.
Oh, Kenya.
Yeah, I'm going to Kenya
What you gonna do there?
in 3 weeks. I'm going to work with farmers. And I have an amazing friend, Ashley King Bischoff, who has started a company.
What's his name?
Her name is Ashley King Bischoff.
Okay.
We should get her on here somehow. She's in Kenya, though. But
okay.
she has a company she started called Market Opportunity. And she's dedicating 5 years and taking her funding down to Kenya. She's been there for 2 years now, where they are working with farmers all over the country to develop software for them to help them understand how to get their products, their food products, into channels for outsourcing or for sourcing. So Walmart, is one of the biggest buyers, but not everyone is getting their products out there the way they could be. And it's really just about healthy food and about a healthy life for the farmer. Sustainability.
Well, they're moving and shaking right now by leaps and bounds in farming.
Right. I'm excited to see it, and learn about it. I really am.
Yeah, they're really doing some good stuff there. Now, one of the things I was reading about them is they don't use Monsanto chemicals.
Oh God, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, they kicked Monsanto out. They told Monsanto, ADM, Arthur Daniel Midland, they told them, hey, we don't want your stuff.
Oh, wow. That's music to my ears. I mean, it's tough because a lot of the retailers say that the food has to look a certain way.
Right.
Right? So then it's like, well, without pesticides, sometimes there's, it's a different look. Or without the wax, the apple isn't as shiny. And so, that's why I'm excited about companies like Imperfect Produce, who take the unwanted
Is
produce.
that the guy in Boston?
They may be headquartered in Boston, I'm not sure, but they're definitely in the Bay Area. They're in like all major cities, I think, now, mainly in the U.S., definitely in California.
I saw the guy in Boston, where he takes imperfect fruit, and cleans it up and sells it.
Yes.
At 30% less.
Yeah.
And he made $12 million.
It's discounted. Yeah.
He made $12 million.
Because it's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's so brilliant. I'm a customer.
Are you?
Yeah, and you get these fresh fruits and vegetables delivered to your door. They recycle the container, and they're less money than going to get them yourself. And they're not going. They would be thrown away. They would be. It would be food waste because the carrot is is crooked.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But it tastes great.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean that's like the more I think people can get on board with that, the more likely we'll have pesticide-free foods in major stores.
That would benefit the minority community very much, especially the Mexican American and the black community.
Yeah.
Because their first thing is they don't get enough vegetables.
Right.
Everything is processed.
Right.
The other thing I saw the other day was I saw a lady bought 25 TV dinners for her kids because school was starting. I'm going to freeze all this so when they come in the evening I can feed them. I looked at the sodium content on one of them. God bless America. That's enough to blow a horse's nose out.
You're right. No, you're right. Yeah.
So, we're looking at the fact that Vanessa is here to tell you how to live a better life with nutrition. And I want to ask you a very personal question. How does that make you feel at the end of the day when somebody comes and tell you that they were successful from following your mandate?
I don't think there's a better feeling. I don't think it's the best feeling I've ever felt. And that's why I want to dedicate myself to it. It's not easy, starting your own business. You're a business owner, and even, sometimes it's even less about like, oh, look at these results I got, and it's more like, I feel encouraged today. Like I've had someone say that to me, and that means everything to me, because it's easy to get down on yourself and to go back into our old habits. Like we're habitual creatures, and to have someone say to me when I start a call with them that they're really down and that it's been a tough week and I didn't work out and I didn't get back, to eating healthy food, but to just talk about ways and like small shifts we can make to get back on track, and then they say to me, you know what, I really feel like I can do this now. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm in it for. And I can provide all the information and all, steps to take, but it's not a straight and narrow path usually. And so like I enjoy being there for people who are committed to trying. because it's absolutely possible. Like the people that want to feel great and look great can do it. They can.
You know what? Anybody can do it. One of the things, you know, I bang into places. I end up in places I'm not supposed to be talking to people. I run my mouth all over the place. There's this one lady. Her name is Nina, and she lives over in Emeryville, and I see her every once in a while. And one day I just said to her, I said, "Can I say something to you?" She said, "Yeah." She said, "Is it off the cuff?" I said, "Kind of, in a way that you might like it, you know." So she said, "Well, put it out to me." I said, "When I see you walking, I'll be going down to the walking pass, you know, make pass." I said, "Don't ever change, and don't let anybody change you. Just do what you're doing and stay on course." And I was standing, and next thing I know, she got her arms around me, and she's crying, and she says, "You know, I've been on a diet for 5 years, and it didn't work." She said, "And I just started not eating certain things, and it worked."
Look at
You
that.
know,
Yeah.
and I said, "Well, okay, I hang out at, you know, different places," and I gave her the name of the place that I hang out. And she walked in one day, and I said, "Well, hey, dinner's on me. Anything you want to eat." She ordered a huge salad with chopped chicken in it and all of the oils and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And I said to her, I said, "You know what? Have at it. That was good." But, you know, it's good to see people when they're successful.
Right.
You know, this is one thing when I walk through the minority neighborhoods, and people make so many excuses. But I can't do this. I can't do that. I can't. Yes, you can. Like Obama says, yes, you can.
Yes,
If you want to do for. And I'm looking at the fact that, you know what, psychologically, we are aggressive when we don't eat right.
Yeah.
I had to be real on that one. It has something to do with your psychological aggressiveness.
If you're not caring for your body, it's going to act out. It's going to try to get your attention. You know, you're not going to sleep well. You're going to be short-tempered. You're going to be low energy, and you're going to be cranky. And you're going to have a bad attitude. Like, these are all things that can stem from not nourishing your body properly, and that affects your relationships. And it can affect our energy levels, which can affect our temperament, our attitude, which can affect our relationships.
So if I'm standing on the corner all day trying to do these things and work a job, and I'm eating piecemeal instead of eating a good lunch,
Yeah.
and going on in life,
Yeah.
you know, which, and I'm going to say something. If you look at the construction workers, they eat like crap.
Oh.
Hamburgers, hot dogs,
Yeah.
you know,
And crazy hours too.
and crazy hours.
Yeah.
And the stress builds because when the winter comes, they don't have jobs for months.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're looking at the fact that you become non-productive, and that affects your family.
It does, and your attitude. Your
Yeah.
attitude affects your family, your happiness, and like, I just love the story about the woman that you took to dinner, because doesn't that sound like a great dinner date? Like someone who's ordering healthy food and feels good and likes to be there. Like that's, you know, that's a great partner in my world.
Well, you know what was fulfilling about that night, really? I called myself Dr. Charlie. That's what everybody called me, Dr. Charlie. You
Yeah.
know why? Because when I was on the engineering circuit, I would walk in there scared as hell, come up with the damnedest stuff that didn't make sense to anybody else. You know, several years ago, they had these brand new Mercedes-Benz diesels, and they were leaking coolant into the oil.
Oh.
And I had saw this guy in Wisconsin, Madison, Wisconsin, use walnut shells to seal his tractors and his trucks with.
Really?
You know, and I did that. And you know, the thing about it is I like people seeing some of the things that I've experienced in life. You know, eggplant. I used to hate eggplant.
Mm-hmm.
But I was down south eating eggplant all the time.
Yeah.
And you know, it's these type of things that really get you going in the day because it has a lot of fiber to it.
Do you like it now?
Oh God, yes.
Look at, see, that is what people need to know.
Yeah.
That you could begin to like these foods.
Yeah.
Your body has to forget about all of the crap it's been getting and is hooked on, and that takes a little bit of time. But then the natural flavor of foods is so much better. But it's not instantaneous. Like, you don't eat a piece of spinach and you're like, wow,
No.
you know. It takes a moment, and it takes learning about how to prepare it so you like it, like you've done.
One of the biggest things I love is kale.
Yeah, look at you.
Yeah. Kale.
I love to hear that. You don't hear that every day.
Really.
No.
Kale is good.
Yes, it is good.
Kale is good.
Yeah.
All the way around the horn, so to speak.
Yeah,
It's good for your digestion, good for the
Absolutely.
minerals and stuff in
it
it.
really is. I mean, the
Yeah.
dark leafy greens
Dark leafy
are what,
green.
yeah, definitely help us. And eating the rainbow, the natural rainbow.
I'm gonna throw one at you, and I don't want you to fall out of the chair, okay?
Throw it at me.
One of my friends has terminal cancer, and I was talking about your coming on your thing.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
that's when I was in the other side over there. Do you know he's still alive today?
Is that right?
That's
What?
been 2 years. Did you realize
What
that?
did he do? What is he doing?
He changed his diet.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he changed his diet.
So honestly, like, that is the value of a human life. Like, this is a really big deal. That's incredible.
Do you know how special you are to me? Seriously.
No.
Yeah.
Do you know how special you are to me?
Yeah, because you know what? You do it right, you know, and I am a maverick in life.
You are.
Oh, hell yes.
Yes, you are.
I see you traveling and learning more and more things. You probably learn a lot of stuff about going down to Ghana. You're gonna
Yeah.
learn a lot of stuff about farming down there that we don't do in this country anymore.
I'm excited
You're
to learn.
listening
I bet
to
you
Thoughts
down
of
the
a
street,
Common
he
Man
said,
with Charles the Chief
Since
Williams
1943.
on Radio Valencia, the sounds of the mission.
Hello, and we're back again. Dang a roller. We're having such a nice time. Mind and body nutrition. Let me tell you something. We was talking about kale. Kale is good.
I love to hear that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it helps. You're sautéing it with garlic and olive oil, because I know
Yes.
how you eat your kale, and that's
Something.
a
Garlic
great
and
way.
olive oil and red pepper, cayenne. I like that cayenne
I
from
do
Louisiana.
too. I love pepper.
Love that cayenne. I love
Chili.
that hot stuff, you know.
Me
And
too.
a little taste of hot sauce in there once in a while.
Yeah,
And egg whites,
right.
protein, pure protein.
Yeah, and you want it to be from really healthy chickens.
Yeah.
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 I like
it's all
Vital
organic.
Farms.
It's all organic.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But you want those chickens to have some space to roam and things
Yeah.
like that.
Ranch fed chicken.
Yeah, pasture raised. Like Vital Farms is a great one. They give each chicken 108 square feet
Really?
to roam. Yeah, and then the chickens are actually eating, you know, the bugs in the grass, which is
Right.
like bug protein. It's a really great protein
Right.
instead of a feed. Yeah.
You know, I want to say something to people who live in the inner city, and I want to say it like this: we and you could do it better if you really want to, and you can live a lot longer if you really want to, because it's out there. All you got to do is look. Am I right?
It's there.
It's there,
It's there.
and you can afford it.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can do, I mean, so much information is at your fingertips.
Right.
You know, it's literally, that's one of the things I actually wrote down is be an investigator.
Uh-huh.
You have to investigate on your own behalf. Investigate what's in your food. Investigate what resources online that you trust, you know, what do they write about it? And just, you can educate yourself to make completely different life choices and food decisions that will support a healthy, long life.
Well, one thing is, I want to do a shout out to Kelly Carlisle, Acta Nonverba in East Oakland. She has a garden.
Nonverbal what?
Acta Nonverba, B-E-R-B-A.
Oh, okay.
Her name is Kelly Carlisle. She has a huge garden.
That is so cool.
Yeah, and she has about 120 kids that she have out there that teach them how to grow things.
Really?
Yes, she does.
That's what we need.
Yeah,
And
That's
they
what
sell
we
it at
need.
the farmer's market.
yeah.
That is fantastic. Yeah,
Yeah.
shout out to her.
And I got some of her veggies 2 years ago, and let me tell you something. She is quite another one of my people, so
Yeah,
to speak. Just
yeah.
like you.
Yeah.
You know, you guys put it all together. Watermelon, you know, and I want to tell people getting away from thinking that you have to be ethnic. You know, really. oh, it's our heritage to eat fried this and fried that. That heritage is going to put your ass in the ground, you know, so
Thank
to
you for
speak.
saying that.
You know,
Yeah.
seriously.
Yeah.
You know, you have to understand that denatured animal fat is what most people are frying stuff in now. You know how yucky that is?
I do.
That's processed fat.
I can't. And yes, I know what it tastes like. Like, I know that it tastes good. Again, our bodies respond to eating fat because we're here to try to stay alive. But when I went to Texas and people looked at
Oh,
me.
you were in Texas?
I've been in Texas, yeah, a few times.
Really?
In Georgia, South Carolina. And, you know, they look at me sideways if I don't want, like, smoked meat and things like that. Well,
Yeah.
this is what we do in Texas. Well, that's great. I'm glad that that's what you do in Texas, but that doesn't mean that that's the way you have to live your life forever. I hate to break it to you, but you're allowed to make different choices, even if that's what you've done before, even if that's what everyone is doing around you. I mean, my parents both grew up in the Midwest. Steak and potatoes, you know, convenience foods. I'm on my own with this, and that may not be the way my family does
They
things.
cook everything in one pot in the Midwest.
Yeah.
They stew everything.
Yeah, it's cold.
Yeah. And you know, where'd you grow up at?
The East Bay.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought you were like Wisconsin or someplace like that.
No, East Bay, but I'm the first person not born in the Midwest in my family.
Aha.
Yeah. Chicago, Detroit,
Oh my God.
yeah, various
Yeah.
parts of Michigan.
Tell me what do you got planned coming on for all your plans and all your traveling when you go to, you know, different places.
Yeah.
What do you got on horn for this year?
So, I'm going to, well, first I'm going to go up to Forestville and go to the California School of Herbal Studies, which is exciting for me.
Really?
Yeah, because that's in Marin, that's really, maybe it's actually north of Marin County.
It's north.
Yeah, very far north, from here anyway. And,
About 100 miles. Not quite 100 miles, about
Uh-huh.
70 miles.
yeah, so I'm going to learn more about like what herbs do for us. I mean, we know that plants, some of them are detoxifying, some of them help to cleanse our blood. I mean, they have really amazing, powerful things that they do. So I'm going to dig into that a little bit and some Ayurveda. So, you know, you talked about fatigue, so how can we use plants to help heal our bodies from fatigue? I'm going to be diving into that quite a bit. And then I'll go to Nairobi, and I'll be exploring Kenya and Uganda and the farming,
Yeah.
you know, operations there, and do some work for that organization. And then I'm going to go to the Middle East and enjoy some delicious Mediterranean food by the Mediterranean Sea, and eat lots of oh, I can't wait, just hummus and olive oil and fish and vegetables and tomatoes and I'm just
You can
so
get
excited.
spoiled over there.
Oh, I know. I've been, and I was
Oh,
spoiled,
God.
so I'm really excited to go back.
Greece I used to love Greece.
Yeah.
I used to
Really?
love to go to Greece, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I used to love, God, you know, everything is so good.
I do hope to get over to Greece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you're traveling a lot this year, huh? This coming.
I'm going to. Yeah. It's great because I can take my business on the road.
Uh-huh.
And ultimately, like, I just want to learn more about food. I want to learn more about, you know, the blue zones in the world where people are living longer and
Uh-huh.
and outside of the American lifestyle. And how can I maybe bring something back with me when I return later this year to help serve?
Do you think that the Greek Mediterranean diet's a good thing?
I do.
And it's easy to cook. It's
Yeah.
easy to make.
It's so flavorful.
So flavorful.
Let's talk about how enjoyable it is.
Yeah.
But, you know, all of those foods are high in healthy fats,
Right.
right? Which they're not getting like chemical processed, like low fat yogurt. Like, no, it's like, you know, very all natural sources. And you're getting a lot of the olive benefits and the olive oils and the proteins like fish.
You know, they just really verified that the oldest man living was almost 200 years old.
What? Where?
China.
Are you kidding me? No.
Yes.
But they found him and he had already passed. Is this
Nope.
what?
He died last week.
Okay.
He was 200?
Yeah, he was
I need to
almost
look this
200.
up. Gina,
Yeah.
you want? No, I'm just kidding.
No, seriously.
That's amazing. What?
He's almost like 190 something or something like this, some ungodly amount.
Oh my gosh.
And they verified his birth by the time that he was telling him that certain things happened.
Oh wow.
He is the oldest living person now that they have ever found.
Oh my gosh.
He lives in this little obscure part of China that is so remote.
Right.
And on top of it, they were asking him, what did he do? He said he lives on herbs and spices, and
Wow.
all green, and
Wow.
a little bit of wine.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's powerful.
And they talked to him up to 2 hours before his death.
Oh.
His heart was shut down.
Oh.
Yeah. But you go online and you'll find that.
Oh, I'm gonna look. I
Yeah.
will look that up today. That is
Yeah.
incredible.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. I hope I read that right, but I'm pretty sure he's just pretty close to 200 years old.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like they were talking to him because he had broken a record
Yeah.
in terms of age.
Yeah.
For
Well,
sure.
I said, I hope this not fake news. And I went looking for it, and I saw it 3 times on Facebook. Different presentations.
Yeah.
And, wow. Good luck, guys.
Jeez.
You know, and I looked that up.
Oh, I
You know,
will. I will. I
you know,
can't wait.
Herbs and spices and, and grasses and
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah.
And vegetables, fruit
Yeah.
and vegetables.
Yeah. I mean, they're there to even help us when we get sick.
Right.
It's not just like, oh, they help us live well. Like, they help us heal. They help us recover. They reduce inflammation, which is connected to like most disorders and diseases. You know.
Yeah, one of the things I want to say is the fact that, there's so much in this world that we don't get out and see. And you're actually getting out and looking for it and seeing it and
Well,
finding it.
you really have too. I mean, you're an inspiration talking about your
Well,
time.
I've been around.
Wow. I mean,
I've,
yeah.
I've been to 23 countries.
Wow.
Yeah. I've
And
been-
in Vietnam, I mean, I can't imagine.
Yeah, I learned something from Vietnam.
Right.
One of the things I saw there was on the Buddhist temple. It said there are those of us who live the challenge life, and then there are those of us who live and let life challenge us.
Oh.
It said, be a challenger. Your days may not be as long, but they'll be oh so sweet and full.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was written in English on the side of a temple.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that. That's amazing that you saw that in that moment.
And it enhances life to know that I'm gonna say something, and boy, I hope everybody don't have a heart attack behind it. If we would love people and care for people, and I talk this every week, and respect people, and then be happy and eat right, and put all these variables in order, we would have a better country.
I just wanted that to like soak into the airwaves.
Yeah.
What you just said.
Yeah.
'Cause that's what it comes down to.
Yeah. I was very upset with this Nazi movement thing,
Oh.
because wherever I've gone in the world, I've seen nothing but devastation left by the Nazi movement,
Of course.
and starving people and stuff like that. It's just not, living healthy, eating healthy, loving each other, caring for each other,
Yeah.
and making changes in life.
That is what I have written down. I wrote this down last night
Uh-huh.
about investing in loving relationships
Right.
because that affects our body chemistry. It affects the way we connect. Like we have to have physical touch, connection, affection. These are things that affect our health every day and the way that we relate to other people. And if you let the guy over in the lane in front of you, or if you speed up and honk and like give him the finger,
Yeah.
like it affects your body chemistry,
Sure.
the way we're treating others, and being able to like receive love from other people.
There's a word for that, physiological.
Yeah, our physiological health.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And not, just getting so caught up in the grind.
Right.
Like we talked about, it's like making money. Like yes, that's important, but if we don't invest in our people and our relationships, like those are ultimately what lead to a happy life is other people. And I think sometimes it's easy to lose sight of that.
2 friends of mine, I want to agree with you on that. 2 friends of mine Lawrence and Deanne. Deanne lives over in San Francisco, and Lawrence lives in L.A. They had been without mates for almost 15, 20 years. And I got them together here.
Oh,
three,
did
4
you?
years. Yes, I sure did.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, and all he did was sit and watch the television and eat junk food. And she was the healthy one. You
Yeah.
ought to see the two of them now. They're very happy.
Yeah.
And life has changed. And we're talking about Thoughts of a Common Man right here on Radio Valencia. You know, and we're talking about some good stuff with Vanessa Rogers, and we're talking about love and happiness and eating food and making sure that you do things right.